Ladies, if you're in your 30s and you are sick and tired of your makeup routine, your makeup just is not hitting the way that you want, I am here to help you. I'm going to give you guys an in-depth tutorial on my everyday go-to makeup routine for my 30s. But obviously, this video is for anybody looking to revamp or build a makeup routine. I will be giving you guys all of my tips and tricks as someone who has done makeup professionally. Honestly, my makeup has changed so many times over the years, but I just love how confident a signature makeup routine makes me feel. It also makes life so much easier having a go-to routine and understanding makeup a little bit more. Also, I know you guys asked for the shades. Today's video is definitely more about the makeup techniques than the makeup products, but I will be listing the products in the description box, but I'll also be putting the shades that I'm using on the video if you guys are interested. So we're going to be going over my skincare routine really quickly and then an in-depth tutorial on my makeup routine with all of my makeup tips and tricks. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to be giving you guys things that you can look up to help you understand how to do your makeup better when it comes to your face shape, color theory, color seasons, color palettes, all of the little things. There are no rules in makeup, but there are guides, and I'm going to show you guys how you can use those guides to make your makeup better and make your makeup makeup. And before we start, don't forget to subscribe if you love beauty content like this, or if you're in your 30s, join the club. We have new beauty videos every week, and also vlogs are back on the channel, and I am so happy about it. So let's get into the video. You guys, the mic was not on the entire time, but I am just starting with my skincare routine. You cannot have good makeup without good skincare. And the number one thing I noticed when I did makeup professionally, yes, I did makeup professionally, if you guys did not know that. The one thing I noticed as a professional makeup artist is how dry people's skin is. Is that right? That was the number one thing. I noticed a lot of people don't like to put a ton of products on, and I promise my skin routine is as simplified as it could possibly be. I don't do a ton of fluff, but it really does require a few products to get your skin back to where it should be, especially for makeup and just the health longevity of your skin. You kind of have to pour a lot back into it, especially in your 30s. Your skin doesn't produce as much collagen as it used to, so you could notice some hollowness. It's not as radiant, it's not as supple, it doesn't bounce back as quickly. A lot of us tend to get a little bit more dry as we get older too. Our skin stops producing oils like it used to. And for me, that is the bane of my existence, dry skin. I hate the feeling of dry skin. When I did makeup professionally, that is the portion that I would spend the most time on, was the skin prep before the makeup. And typically as a makeup artist, the skin prep was a whole skincare routine. Your skin really needs that. But let's say you don't do your makeup right after your skincare routine. What are you going to do in that case? You don't want to repeat the whole skincare routine. I get it. That's where primers do come in. In my opinion, primers are not what people think they are. I think skin prep is better than primer, but again, if you're not doing your skincare right before your makeup, a primer can help your skin kind of bounce back to that plump suppleness that we need before makeup. You need the skin to be supple so it could sort of absorb the makeup and it could sit really nicely. So I'm going to show you guys some things that I do like. This is new, but the CoverGirl Nourishing Milk Ceramide Mist, I really like this, and it's drugstore. This is just going to be a spray that you can kind of just pop on, and it instantly gives your skin a little bit of plump and juicy right back, which you need for makeup. I also love a primer that is like the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Glow Serum. I think this is absolutely gorgeous. It's a serum-like texture. It gives the skin a natural radiance. You can put it all over your skin. It's literally like a serum with glow, and it also makes the skin super supple, so that's an amazing option as well. And whenever I put that on my skin, I'm just gonna put it on. And you don't have to use all three of these. I'm just showing you guys how they work. But the thing I love the most about this Danessa Myricks is that When I put it on, it makes my skin look and feel just like I put my entire skincare routine on, even though that isn't the case when I normally do use this primer. It's just so beautiful. It doesn't look like makeup at all. It just really brings the skin's radiance back. And that's always what I'm looking for before I start my makeup. I like it to be a little supple, a little tacky. That's exactly how you want the skin to look before makeup. That's how you get the makeup to sit really nicely. So skincare really is the foundation of your makeup routine. And if you want more of a skincare breakdown, I have a full breakdown video if you guys want to check that out. But let's get into the makeup. I don't know how many times I have mentioned this at this point, but as I get older, deeper into my 30s, less is more when it comes to makeup. And I really want my makeup to be intentional. And honestly, that used to scare me so much as a makeup girl. I used to be a full glam makeup girl, like up until like 2 years ago. It was a really scary thought to go this more natural route. But honestly, I just feel so much better being a little bit more natural, wearing less makeup, and really just enhancing my features, not covering them up, not doing fun looks. It's just the era that I'm in. So this is going to be a really simple makeup look for us that we can do quickly once we get the hang of it. And with all that being said, I basically wanted to tell you guys that I love skin tints now in my 30s. I hardly ever reach for foundations anymore. Today I'm going to be using the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Serum Tint. I did get this during the Sephora sale and I was so excited about it and I love it. 10 out of 10. It's a nice serum texture. It's a little bit thick. It doesn't have a runny texture, but just wait and see what this looks like. When it comes to foundation or skin tints, whatever you may be using, the point of it is to just even out your skin tone. It's not really to cover up everything. You don't want it to look like a mask. I like to always say, think of your foundation as paint primer. You're just evening everything out for the rest of the layers. So you don't want a heavy layer of foundation. That's where you get that cakey, heavy mask look. And I'm pretty sure that's not what we want. With this, I even apply my skin tints differently now. I really try to marry it with the skin and make it one layer. I try to sheer it out as much as possible. Skin tints are nice because you can still see your skin through it. You can see my freckles through it. But with my skin, I have a lot of freckles and I also have a lot of redness. So I still need some type of complexion product to help even out my skin tone so the rest of my makeup can go on nicely and do its job. So I just apply a nice thin layer of this. Oh my god, I forgot to do my eyebrows. On so beautifully. Again, it sort of has that radiant finish because it has a serum texture, but it basically absorbs into the skin, and that's what I love with a skin tint. I'm going to do my brows now. I normally do my brows first. I'm going to go in with a brow tint gel. I normally love a laminated look, but because I forgot to do my brows, we're not going backwards. We're just going to use this. This is from Milk Makeup. This is their Kush High Roll Brow Gel Tint. And I'm just going to fill my brows in. This is a really nice natural brow product. It's nice and simple, especially for those of us that are in a rush, on the go, or just want something really easy and you don't really have to try too hard. This is really good. It kind of grabs onto the hairs like fibers and just creates this really nice full look. It also is a gel, so it has a little bit of hold. So just brush the hairs in the direction that you want, but do not skip out on brows. Even when it comes to getting them done, ladies, it took me years to grow my brows back because I was a victim of overplucking, but I decided to grow them out, find someone who can do threading and reshape them, and we built them back brick by brick, and they have been this way for years now. You don't want to skip brows because they really frame your face, and your brows can honestly dictate the age of your face. So our brows tend to sort of start disappearing in the front of the brows or the middle section as we get older. And so if you're not doing something to sort of put them back or just make them fuller. Typically, fuller brows look a little bit more youthful, and also filling in that front base part of the brow Also gives you a little bit more of a youthful look, but I get it. I have seen so many people be hysterical when they put their brows closer together and be like, oh my God, this looks wrong. This is not right, because they've gone years with the front of the brows sort of missing. It does take some getting used to. You totally don't have to do it if you don't like it. I don't make the rules. That's just what it is. That's what they do. They frame the face. So either way, if you don't plan on rebuilding them, reshaping them, or whatever, at least put some type of product, because they really start shaping the face. As you can see, my face sort of just woke up even with just the brows on. There's a little bit more framing happening. Now we're gonna go in with some concealer. Concealer was my favorite. I would go in with concealer to get a nice lift out of my face. Concealer brings light to your face. It brightens and lifts the face. So wherever you're putting concealer, it's going to lift and brighten. But as I said earlier, less is more. And I really like to just go in with less concealer. And I love a serum-y, creamy concealer. And if you are 30 and up, or you have a lot of creasing and fine lines, because yes, they can be genetic. Yes, you can get them before you turn 30. You want to put your concealer lower. You don't want to put it right under your lash line. That is a mistake a lot of people make. So you want to put it a little bit lower. And then I'm going to take a brush, but you can also take a sponge, and I'm going to start blending that out in this whole under eye area on top of my cheek. And once it's blended out, then I start to bring it to the under eye area, whatever is left. And this is going to be so there's not so much extra product piling up in those fine lines, because if you have any fine lines, the product is going to kind of find its way in there and cause creasing. So you want to put the least amount of product there, but look at how much concealer just wakes me up. Also, another thing I want to mention that is so important to understand is your face shape. If you struggle with your makeup placement, I would definitely look into figuring out what type of face shape you have. And yes, you can use ChatGPT. I'm going to give you guys some prompts at the end that you guys can ask ChatGPT to make your makeup better. So stay tuned for that part, because I think that is going to be the most interesting and helpful part, to be honest. So this is the only place that I put concealer now, and it just gives my face a little bit of look a little bit more awake and bright. That is what you want with concealer. Concealer is typically a little bit thicker of a formula than a foundation. So you can also use concealer to conceal blemishes. You might have to get a different color just depending on your skin tone. Another thing I want to talk about when it comes to foundation, concealer, and even bronzer and blush is your skin tone and your undertones. This is a hot topic, and it's honestly hard for me to assess everyone's skin tone online. It was honestly hard for me to do in real life too when I was a makeup artist, but I don't know if I have a gift for being able to see colors, but in real life, I can mix the perfect color to match you. And with being a makeup artist, I want to say that sometimes there just isn't one perfect shade for you. Everyone has so many different colors in their skin. It's actually crazy. And to get the perfect color every single time as a makeup artist, I would have to mix and match so many different things to different parts of the face. There's so many variables in our skin. So I understand if you don't have a perfect shade match, but understanding your skin tone and your undertone will help a lot in you navigating where you're at, what foundations you should go for. For me, I'm a light to medium neutral undertone. So those are the words that I look for every single time I'm buying a foundation. I sort of see my undertone as like peach. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I see it in my mind. Just because my foundation is neutral doesn't mean my concealer is also neutral. For concealer, I personally like to have something that's a little bit more peach pink undertone, because it provides that color correcting slash brightening, which peach is color correcting, pink is brightening, and that tends to be the perfect undertone for me, and not a lot of brands do that. So when I find a concealer I love, I really hold on to it. Now we're going to be going in with some bronzer. Bronzer is where knowing your face shape really comes in handy. I have an oval face shape, so this is where I'm going to put bronzer. Bronzer can be interchanged with contour sometimes, especially if you have a skin tone like me, light to medium, neutral undertone. I typically like my bronzers to also be neutral. I don't like them to be too warm or orange or gray and cool. I like a right in between, and there's a lot of of good bronzers out there that are like that. I'm going in with Maybelline Lifter Sticks, and I'm going to be putting this on the high points of my face where the sun would naturally hit. Also going to be using it as a way to lift and sculpt my face. So right here, I want to give myself a little bit of a lift, and also with my cheeks, these lines should be parallel to each other. Most people think contour should be under your cheekbone. You actually want to go a little bit higher because once you blend it out, it's going to dip lower. So if you start lower with your bronzer contour, you're going to end up having it down here, and it's going to completely defeat the purpose of bronzer contour slash sculpting. But always go a little bit higher, almost where you think blush would be, but on the back end of your cheek. And I love to do my nose as well. I don't think my makeup looks complete if I don't include my nose. It looks a little funky if you leave your nose out. This isn't necessarily to make my nose look skinnier, it's to give my nose a little bit of definition, just like I am with the rest of my face. I'm not trying to change my face shape, I'm just trying to enhance my face shape. Don't feel weird about doing your nose. It's not necessarily to change the shape. It's just to define the shape. Your nose can get a little lost if you do not apply any product there, but you do the rest of your face. Looks a little bit uneven. And I just like to blend this out by pressing it in place exactly where I placed it, but pressing those edges. And I love to use a brush that fits exactly where I'm blending. Time and time again, as I get older and better at my makeup, I realize that smaller brushes are just better. There's less room for mistakes, especially when it comes to placement. Always put this into the hairline. You don't want it to be like a helmet. You want it to really blend into that hairline. This is giving our face a little bit of dimension, a little bit of color back. This is where I would naturally get some color if I was sitting in the sun all day. And this color is also a pretty natural color for me as well. It's not too far off from my skin tone in areas where I'm a little bit more tan. So you see how it matches my hand? That's how I know this is a really good bronzer sculpting color for me, because it matches the tone of my actual skin. And for my nose, I'm just going to use the same exact brush. And this is what I mean, where it doesn't have to be perfect or small and defined, but I'm still going to follow my natural nose shape. Even if you end up putting bronzer on the whole nose, it doesn't look bad. It just gives your nose a little bit of life and evens it out with everything. Does that make sense? Let me know. Another tip I want to give you guys is understanding not only your undertones, but your color season, your color palette, and also your visual weight of your face and your contrast. I have a low visual weight, which means all of my features are sort of the same size. I don't really have one prominent feature. Like my lips are a little bit small, my nose is a little small, and my eyes are a little small. Like I don't have big eyes, I don't have big lips, I don't have super defined cheekbones. Everything is sort of like the same size, if you will, on my face. That's the best way that I can explain it. So I'm able to go a little crazy with the blush because I've already done the rest of my face. Also, because of my contrast, I have medium high contrast, which means my eyes and my hair are a lot darker than my skin tone. There's a lot of contrast between the two. So adding some blush kind of bridges that gap on between my face and my hair. It gives my face a lot more definition. And this color is perfect from Morphe. I love a coral blush, whether it's like a soft muted one, an intense one. Coral is sort of where I live with blushes. I think they look the best with bringing out that natural glow that my skin has. And again, for placement with blush, understanding your face shape helps a lot with knowing where to put blush. Depending if you have a round face, an oval face, a square face, those little things really do make a difference if you want to enhance your features. These are not rules, they're guides to get the most out of your makeup, so it just enhances your features. It's not to change your features or anything like that. These rules are just guides to enhance your features. So you don't have to follow them, but they work. Now I'm gonna go in with some powder. Everyone does powder differently, but I love to go in with a pressed powder first. And of course, in my 30s, less is more. And the same goes with powder. I love how healthy and plump and radiant my skin looks right now. But if I were to just leave it like this, it does look a little bit wet, if you will. So I am going to use a little bit of powder just in the areas where I don't want to necessarily look wet or radiant. So this is going to go in the T-zone, and I personally love a pressed powder because I feel that you have more control with it, with the way it sits on your makeup, especially when your makeup is a little bit wet like this. And I'm using the One Size Boucle Silk powder. This is a really pretty powder. It's really lightweight. It looks like skin. I really like it. I am starting to think this color is a little warm for me. Then I like to do underneath the eyes as well. I don't want to leave that area wet or shiny looking because the makeup will also crease in this area if you don't put powder. If you're in your 30s, I feel like you definitely come from a time where we loved powder for some reason. Like we were looking a little dry and then we would have that blind highlighter. We don't want to do that anymore. Okay, we want to use just a little bit of powder just where we don't want to be shiny. We don't want to face full of powder. It's just not flattering on our skin as we age. You want the makeup to be a little flexible with your skin. You want it to sit and be able to move on your skin. You don't want it to be like super dry and tight and crusty looking. We don't want that. So a little bit of powder does definitely help. And also powder helps with longevity of the makeup because if it's just wet all day, it's definitely way more prone to coming off and moving and smudging and budging when you touch your face. So the powder kind of holds it together. I just don't love doing a ton to my eyes anymore. I am going to put a little bit of concealer under the brows to give my face a little bit of a lift. So you want to put the concealer under your brows, but from like the arch to the tail. You don't want to put it to the front of the brow. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose of giving your face a lift. This is how you actually lift your face, by putting it from that arch to the tail. And it'll just create this natural looking lift because concealer lifts and brightens. It brings light, which makes it look like it's a little bit more forward or up. The most eyeshadow you will get from me on a daily basis is a little bit of bronzer in my crease. I know some people are like, I don't even have time to do that. Yes, you do. It's really fast. You want a big fluffy brush like this, bronzer, and just feel your crease and go back and forth. That's all you got to do. And this just instantly gives your eyes some definition and life. Like, pretty sure that was 2 seconds, and it makes the biggest difference. This will kind of make it look like you really tried with your makeup when we really know it'll take like 5 seconds to do. So you want to go in your crease area, also right under the brow and right in the outer corner towards the tail of the brow. This is going to give you a more lifted look, this placement. That's also why I avoid concealer right in the front of the brow, because I actually like to add bronzer. So it just sort of be defeating the purpose if I put concealer there. Also, this gives shadow and depth, and then the concealer is contrasted to that, so it looks a little bit more prominent and more up and lifted. And that's an easy 1, 2. Another lifting hack that I want to show you is go with your concealer that you use under your eyes, put a little bit on your hand. Concealer brush from the brows, you want to pick some up, just a little bit, and I'm going to use the outer corner of my eye, lower lash line, as a guide, and just put a little bit of concealer there. This really helps with eyeshadow. It sort of cleans it up, but in general, it also just provides a lift to the face because, again, concealer lifts and brightens. It gives the illusion that there's a little lift out here. You have to go with your eye shape. So I have almond uplifted eyes. I'm going to follow my outer corner and use my lower lash as the angle, the guide angle. And for me, I do like to add a little bit of definition to my eyes with some eyeliner. And I'm going to use that outer corner again, that same exact angle as that concealer trick. You can honestly use that as a guide. And I just put a little bit of pencil out there, and I use an angled brush, a really thin, dense one, and pull that liner out just to give my eyes some definition. Do you see that? It makes me look more awake. It gives my eyes definition, which looks really nice, especially because I'm a medium high contrast, and it kind of frames my eyes. Another trick I like to do for my eyes is to go on the inner corner, just this inner corner, and it makes my eyelashes look thicker by adding that little bit of eyeliner there because it kind of gives the illusion of eyelashes. I love to do that hack for more definition without using space on my eyelid. As we get older, our eyes do tend to get a little bit droopy, so your skin will start to go over a little more. It's totally normal. It happens. So our eyelid space becomes very precious. So that's why I personally don't like to line the whole entire lash line. When I was younger, absolutely loved it. But now I just feel like it makes my eyes look way more open, lining only the front and end of my lash line. Actually, the liner I put out here isn't even on my lash line. It's almost like I built an extension to my lash line. You can kind of see my lashes end here and my liner kind of starts where my lashes end. So I'm actually creating an illusion and extending my lash line. I have been slacking on using a lash serum. I don't wear falsies as much as I used to. I basically have kind of grown out of that phase personally. Now I just find mascaras that work really, really well. And I'm going to use this L'Oreal telescopic extension one and really take my time. I have straight lashes, so I'm always on the hunt for mascaras that don't make my lashes go down. And they're hard to find, but this one does not. So I'm gonna go ahead and really take my time with this. This is probably the step that takes the most time out of my makeup routine, but it does make a big difference if you take your time with it. All right, while the lashes dry, let's work on finishing up the face. I'm gonna start doing powder blushes, and this is where my face really just comes alive. You will start to see the difference in my face with blush. I'm going to use the same powder in the cream blush. It's really nice that this has it because then you know it's the color for you. So I'm going to just set the cream blush with the powder in the same exact blush and just lightly pushing it. I don't like to go back and forth. I don't want to disturb the creams and the placement. So I'm just pushing this and you're going to get so much more pigment doing it this way as well. And again, I have low visual, medium high contrast, so I can actually afford to use a lot of blush on my face. In fact, I think it looks better when I do. So I really go in with the blush. And because I have this neutral, cool leaning undertone, I love to go under my eyes with this cool tone pink blush. It really makes a big difference in how my cheeks look in my under eye area. It adds sort of like a glow, but not like a highlighter glow, a glow with color. This cool pink is adding a lift to my face. It's very subtle, but it's definitely happening. And I like to put this on the top of the cheek and sort of in the under eye area because we're gonna finish it off with some powder. And then I'm gonna go in with some loose powder now. I like to save loose powder for under my eyes, and I like to use a brightening powder. And the powder duo from Huda Beauty is my current favorite. I love it so much because, like I said, I like a peach pink undertone for my eyes, and Huda Beauty really gave me exactly that with Cherry Peach Easy Bake Powder. It has a little bit of peach for the color correcting and a little bit of pink for brightening, making it the perfect powder for under my eyes. And this is how I get that brightening effect under my eyes without using a ton of concealer. If you're in your 30s, you also came from the era where they were using a ton of concealer and a ton of light concealer to get that bright under eye look. But I'm here to tell you that you guys can achieve that with the correct brightening powder under your eyes. And it's so much more forgiving and less cakey than concealer. And I just like to do this under my eyes. I like to go up to the side of my nose, and this also does a reverse contour for my nose, and it does give it a little bit more of that pinched look, if you will, but I'm not changing the shape or anything. And then out here, just to give a little bit of a lift. And that is the perfect base routine. I'm not the biggest primer girl, but what I do love and recommend is setting sprays. I like to use Milani Make It Last as sort of as a makeup melter. This is gonna melt the powders into the creams. And you really want to do this, especially if you don't like heavy, cakey makeup. This is just going to make the makeup one with your skin. If you want, you can take a sponge and really just press it in. A sponge also picks up any excess makeup that you may not want sitting on top of your skin. So this just makes the makeup feel so much lighter in general. And then I like to use a setting spray, which is something that is a little bit more transfer resistant, transfer proof, and like hairspray basically. I'm going to use the L'Oreal Infallible 3-Second Mist. I love the finish on this one and I can really trust it. So I like to use 2 setting sprays most times. You kind of want like a fixing spray or something that's going to sort of melt the product together, and then you want something that's going to really hold the makeup on all day long. When it comes to lips, I typically do the same type of combos. I'm gonna use a oh no, I'm running out. Oh no, I don't know if I have enough. This is NYX Duck Pump in Filament. And I'm looking for a color that is similar to my lips but has a little bit more depth. And this is to give my lips some dimension. And when you line your lips, you want to go on the edge of your lip, not inside your lip. Especially if you're trying to overline a little bit. And this just gives my lips so much dimension because it is a similar color to my lip. And you see how now you can just see my lips more on my face. They're popping out a little bit more because they have that dimension. Now I'm going to add a little bit of depth with the cool tone color. I want you guys to think of this as contour. Now I'm going to contour my lips. And this is where the overlining really comes into play because I'm using a cool tone color on the edge of that other color. So now I have overlined the lips officially and made them a little bit more prominent than they were before. I am not against lip filler, but I don't plan on ever getting lip filler. So this is my way to catfish my lips into looking a little bit bigger and just honestly not even bigger, but just sort of even with my face. Now that I've enhanced my eyes with a little bit of eyeliner, my cheeks with the blush, I need my lips to have a little bit of definition as well. And this just makes everything look very cohesive, especially with my medium high contrast, my hair, eyes compared to my face. Now we're gonna use some lipstick. What lipstick do I wanna use? I've honestly just been using lip tints and some lip balms, but I'm gonna go in with Merit May Sound today. It's just a little bit deeper than my actual lip color. Again, just giving them a little bit more definition. And this again, and this just gives them a little bit more definition. It's like my lip, but better, which is what you want with your lips because it starts to, once again, bridge the gap between my hair and my face. There's an overall harmony and evenness to my makeup by adding a little bit of color back to my lips. That's a little bit more intense than my natural color, but in the same color tone, the same color family, if that makes sense. It's girl math in a way. Now, I'm personally going to add a little bit of freckles because I naturally have freckles. So yes, part of makeup is covering up what you already have just to put it back, but you're putting it back a little bit nicer, neater, whatever. Okay, today is the day I realized the One Size powder is a little bit tan for me, but I still really love it. Okay, had to put some lip balm. I don't know who I am, but now I feel like I cannot live without a lip balm. This is the Edam Guava. This is so random. I love this shade, but it kind of reminds me of the smell and taste of throw up. TMI, I know, but very weird, very odd. I wonder if anyone else thinks that about this, but I think about that every single time I put it on. And like I keep mentioning, there are no rules in makeup, but I truly believe when finding a signature look or a signature makeup routine that will make your life easier, but also enhance your beauty, your features, understanding these things can really help you with your makeup routine. So here's the things that I would ask ChatGPT. First, you're going to need a photo of yourself with no makeup, preferably hair down, and a natural lighting. You can also show it pictures of you with makeup looks that you did like on yourself and kind of analyze why they may have worked. But you want to ask, what is my face shape? Am I high contrast or low contrast? Am I low visual, high visual? What is my color season? And give me a color palette that works for my skin tone. And what is my undertone? I think those questions are an amazing start to figuring out how to get the most out of your makeup routine. I have light to medium, neutral undertone. Neutral, leaning cool undertone. I have a Beige Girl series on my TikTok, so don't forget to follow me on TikTok as well. And if you want to keep up with all things Instagram also. I am a deep winter. I have low visual weight, so all of my features are sort of the same size on my face. I have medium to high contrast, which means there's a medium to high contrast between my eye color, hair color, and my skin tone. And what else? I have an oval face shape with almond upturned eyes. I feel like that's all the info that I have for my own features, if you're wondering for a reference. But yeah, I found all of these things to be very helpful. To be honest, I noticed all of these things about myself, and the more I started putting these patterns together when I would do my own makeup and my own looks and know like what I like, what looks more flattering. I started like seeing all of these patterns and asking AI. And so I will say I do have a natural eye for kind of seeing these things. And I have really fine tuned and tweaked my makeup routine to just be the best for my features and just enhance my natural features. So, minimal effort, maximum results. Once you know these things, it will be so much easier to not only do your makeup, but to figure out what makeup to buy. You will be surprised what you learn. Let me know your guys' results if you do it. I am so curious. I would love to know. Anyways, this is the final makeup look for my everyday makeup routine. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video with all of my makeup tips and tricks packed into one video. I hope it was informative and thorough enough for you guys to get everything that I was trying to say. I just feel like as I get older, my makeup changes. And at first, I was a little scared of what that was going to look like, but now I love it so much. I love my new makeup routine and I love how it makes me feel. I think that's the best part of makeup, honestly. It's the confidence that it can give you. And I truly just love enhancing my features. And I just wanted to show you guys that it's possible for you guys too. And it's possible for you guys to revamp your makeup routine in your 30s or at any point in time. If you're even just learning how to do makeup, finding a solid makeup routine will literally change your life and give you that nice little boost of confidence for everyday life.